Shalom and good day all. This is Tehillim29 back again for another DC comic review. And in this comic review, I will be covering issue 4 of Static. And I must admit, I really like the cover. But how does it sort out story-wise? Now, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that happens inside the story? It pretty much does. And you know what? I've gone to have a look back through my videos just to make sure that I have covered issue 3. And I have, so thank goodness at least DC and also my Australia Post has actually done one thing right because of the terrible delays that I've had here. Well, I think I better get to giving the rating for this cover and how it works with the story. Now, these are some of the friends of Virgil. And this is actually basically them heading out of an area which connects to somewhat an abandoned building, but that's a little bit towards the end of the story, not so much the beginning of the story. And for that, I give this cover a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the internal art, which we'll see things in relation to what's going to be happening in the story before the story racing, which I'll show you some art around the beginning, middle, and of course the end. Now this is something that's happening at the Hawkins residence. A Hawkins family home. And we've got a group called the ATF seeking to, in some essence, to get Virgil. I'll now move to some art around the middle of the story. Now this is Virgil before he heads out, and one of the things that you see there is he's actually come across an element to which can actually turn into an armor for him, which was I thought was actually quite clever. I'll show a little bit more towards the middle. And this is where he catches up with some of his friends. And last but not least, time to move towards the end. And this is where we get the beginning of a bit of a showdown towards Static, or Virgil and Francis. I must admit, I really did enjoy the art for this issue, the internal art for this issue, to which I gave this issue a 7 out of 10 for the internal art. Now it's time to move into the story rating, which consists of, were there any comic references to any previous comics? None at all, yet it would not hurt to include it. Were there any references as to what time of day that this was taking place? No, but it wouldn't hurt to include that either. Locations, again, some of these things could have been clear. About the only clearest thing that was actually shown here in regards to the locations was the Dakota City abandoned steel factory. But it wouldn't have hurt to include the one in regards to the Hawkins home. The cast of characters consisting of Robert Hawkins, Virgil, Francis, Sharon. We also end up meeting Darius as well as Red Eagle. The story at the beginning was the big carryover before or it was the first part of the story before moving into the second part. The first part consisting around what was happening around home after the last events in regards to, if I remember, a teacher of his, and the group known as the ATF have come in wanting to get Virgil in some way, feeling like they want to come across to make amends for somewhat an error that they've done, but in the process not having it work out because the head of the household, Robert Hawkins, decided to stick by his family. And I thought that was actually really nice, but does it deliver well in regards to the actual story raising? I did feel that this was missing some little elements which wouldn't have hurt, such as the references, and maybe even some little editor's notes which wouldn't go astray. Then when we moved into the abandoned steel factory, I only got to know of maybe two of the people that Virgil knows that have teamed up to be a group of superheroes, and I only really got the name of two, even though there was more than one that was actually shown, and I felt that too was also a missed opportunity, to which the writer could have put in the names of the fellow members that were teaming up with him. So for the story rating, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.